think national human rights institutions can strengthen and bolster their domestic work by engagement with both regional and international human rights mechanisms, and principally that would be through the United Nations Human Rights Council. And they can provide information to the Council through the Universal Periodic Review process, through special procedures, and through the treaty bodies.
Singular organizations like NHRIs, standing alone, works not as effectively as being a member of forums or international organizations to persuade domestic governments to take heed and to act, to legislate. This is a great value. The stance of Malaysia's foreign policy at the Human Rights Council, since they are brave enough to cite as an area of concern police abuses, etc. in the UPR, so we want to follow it up with an action plan that will affect regulations, that will affect the very behavior of prison wardens.
I think the role of a national human rights institution is very much to provide the treaty bodies, like the Committee Against Torture, with authoritative, objective analysis and evidence. We're not the government, we're not civil society. We have a specific responsibility to assess the human rights status in our countries, and that is invaluable for a committee like the Committee Against Torture. And what the International Treaty Body Monitoring does is give us standards, benchmarks against which to measure what's happening. From a national human rights point of view, what it can do is provide us with additional ammunition and evidence as to why government should take our recommendations seriously. Because if they're backed up by an international body of experts, that's a very strong statement.
I always interact at the beginning with the government. You meet the relevant ministers and judges and Attorney General. You meet non-governmental organizations, but very important are also independent national institutions, be it courts, judges, but also non-judicial bodies. And if a national human rights institution is independent and effective, they usually have the best information, and I closely cooperate with them. National human rights institutions sometimes have a limited mandate. They might inspect prisons and other places of detention, but they have to announce it. I never announce it. It might help if I then tell to the government, but if you really want your national institution to do an independent, effective work, they should also not be required to announce their visits. I think one of their main roles can be also to follow up on my findings, in particular also if they have access to places of detention.
The SPT is very keen to engage with NPMs and for NPMs to engage with us, and obviously we're interested to receive any information that NPMs have, their annual reports, their reports on visits, or any other information that they want to draw to our attention.
En el marco del mandato significa muchas cosas. Significa que el subcomité es un asesor natural de los estados para apoyarlos en la creación del mecanismo nacional, para asesorarlos, para explicarlos, para ir al país, generar talleres, información, identificar cuáles son los requerimientos de un mecanismo nacional, qué se necesita para que pueda cumplir con los requerimientos del tratado.
The SPT visited Maldives in December 2007. When they visited, we were just in the process of establishing, and we have had several sessions with them, and that actually opened our eyes more to the establishment and continuing process. We have had that contribution from SPT was quite appreciated, because that gave us a broader picture of the relationship. And now the report is there, and that report actually helps us a lot to remind the state, the government, of their obligations to ensure the National Human Rights Commission as the NPM does its function on an independent and a professional manner.
We want to get out to see NPMs, and we do that to the extent that we have resources to visit, but unfortunately we have very limited resources. But in the age of technology, with all the communications possibilities there are, I think that there are creative ways of engaging so that we make the contact and we begin to get to know each other and build confidence so that we can share ideas about our work and also experience and expertise.